People, I know what you're thinking. Vosh, are you really going to make a video on a subject you said you were done talking about, specifically because Natalie of Contrapoints made a video on the same subject and you wanted to talk about the response to it? Vosh, are you just a dog following the trail left behind by the largest breadtuber? To which I respond, what the fuck, man? It's a live stream. Let me do whatever the fuck I want. Hello. If you haven't been sleeping through the past 24 hours, you've probably come to realize that Contrapoints dropped a new video. It's called Voting. Check it out. And it's about... It's about, as every Contra video is, looking fancy with pretentious music. But it's also about voting. It's about drama more than anything else. Votin'. It's about votin', okay? And it's good. It's a great video. I really like it. You know what I like even more? All the people mad about it. If I weren't a lazy piece of shit, I would have found you a bunch of Twitter quotes. But do you really want that? Or would you rather just confidently simmer in the knowledge that people are mad about this video? Like, you can just imagine it, can't you? You don't need specifics. You know what type of people are mad. See, the video is about why it's important to vote out Donald Trump by voting for Biden, unless you think Howie's gonna get that 50% of the vote or whatever. Maybe. I don't know. It's been a crazy year. And the video was pretty great, in my opinion. I mean, Contrapoints videos are pretty much always good, but this one really resonated with me because it sort of acknowledged the very true and very dialectical fact that Twitter is the enemy of the revolution. You see, the format of the video, simply put, is Contrapoints as well as Natalie arguing with Tabby, the recurring character in the canon, the cat girl, revolutionary left, Antifa, so on and so forth. You know, phenomenal. Yeah, pit crew avatar, phenomenal. Just really great, put together perfectly. Now, Tabby's very cute, great, fantastic. And the discourse they have between the two versions of her basically sort of kind of outlines a lot of the criticisms that I've made of Bernier busting over the past half a year. And I thought it would be nice to talk about it. And I thought it would be nice, finally, once and for all, to make a video debunking Bernier bust. I know. What a novel concept. But I haven't actually put all this crap into a video. If you can believe it, I've talked about it a million times, but it's never actually been put into a video. Before we get to it, and we're gonna run through this like it's fucking like a hot knife through butter, baby. Because I've done these arguments so many times, and every time somebody says, oh, well, this new argument will surely... No, it won't. Fuck you. Listen, folks. I'm not doing this because I think I'll change any minds. In fact, I know I won't, because at this point, anybody who does Bernier bust is engaging in magical thinking. They are essentially religious. And listen, if your faith is important to you, that's great. But for me personally, when I got involved in the online left, and now I'm more involved than I ever have been, I liked to imagine the online left and the left in general as a, not perfect, but a ragtag group of tactically minded individuals with a strong mind for strategy who work together to adopt certain positions on certain issues, to rhetorically and optically overcome various problems, to maximize the likelihood of, well, of socialism. Or at the very least of making life better for people. You know, you can't make a revolution happen like that. That's surprising to some people that you can't do that. But you can make people's lives better. And socialists have been making people's lives better without actually achieving socialism for a really long time. You may not believe this, but in the United States of America, socialists have been fighting and fighting and fighting. For 200 years, they've been fighting. Do we live in a socialist country? No. But do you live in a country with weekends? Do you live in a country with holidays? Do you live in a country with 8-hour workdays? Well, kind of. We're leaning on that a little bit. Honestly, we're leaning on all this a little bit. But, folks, it could be a lot worse. Kids don't work in the coal mines anymore. You know, we have OSHA. We used to have unions, kind of. All the good shit in this country, frankly, every good thing, from unions to cotton candy, was fought for, and in many cases, you know, folks died for. And they were socialists. They were socialists, they were anarchists, they were union organizers. These people worked real fucking hard to provide us the fraction of a fraction of the good shit we have in our lives today. And people have been continuing to do this for ages. From Stonewall today, from Bernie Sanders and his little trans-friendly mecca back when he was a mayor in the 80s or some shit. Always, socialists have been working to improve the lives of people around them without actually achieving socialism. See, harm reduction is a nasty term for a axiomatically good thing. If not harm reduction, what do you want then? Harm maximization? Harm neutrality? What is your preference to that term exactly? We're fighting against something which is almost tautologically good, you know? Like, oh, you're just doing this for harm reduction. Well, fucking everything is harm reduction. What do you mean? Socialism is harm reduction. Do you think socialism is flawless? Are you a fucking utopian? Would you have been shot in the revolution? Utopian? Are you utopian? No? Socialism isn't perfect. Nothing is perfect. Everything is harm reduction. Even if something was perfect, it would be harm reduction because you're reducing harm by making it better. That's how it works. That's how it works. The discourse around this topic is so dumb. I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm trying to make the people who already agree with me feel smug about it. Listen, if you're on the fence, if you're looking for a reason to vote for Biden, if you're looking for a reason to care, then the antagonism in this video is not mostly directed at you. The antagonism in this video is directed at people who brag about being counter-revolutionary, who brag about the harm they do as though it makes them better leftists, about the people in my timeline, the people, the influencers, everyone from the dipshits over at Chapo to the little fucking 4-follower accounts on Twitter who accuse me of being counter-revolutionary for believing bourgeois democracy is preferable to fascism. All these people, the people who are confident in their ignorance, whether you make money from it or not, the anger's directed at them. So let's get started. Contra's video is great. You should go watch it. I ain't gonna spoil it much for you, though, because, well, for two reasons. First of all, you should watch it your own damn self. And second of all, Natalie's phenomenal. Natalie has not spent the past 6 months arguing nonstop with these people. You know what? I'll take it. I'll put the mantle on. I'll wear the cape. I am the most qualified human being to have ever lived to deal with the Bernie or bust arguments. There you go. I said it, folks. It's true. It's true. Find another person, okay? Find another person. I'll move the little alerts box up here. I feel like the alerts box should be up here, you know, up near the top. There you go. Find me another individual. Let's get started, okay? We're going to talk it down. How about Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders is too nice, okay? I am untethered by Bernie Sanders' adherence to kindness, all right? But Chomsky? Well, Chomsky's like almost dead. When Chomsky turns into a ghost, he can haunt the Bernier busters, okay? That's his power. That's not my power, all right? People, let's get started. Now, in all caps, at the very center of the page, here is the premise that I am trying to prove. No, even better. We should vote for Biden. Let's be very clear about this. The premise is not that Biden is a great candidate. The premise is not that Biden is going to move over on all of his positions. The premise is not Biden will move to the left. The premise is not Biden is a socialist. The premise is not Biden is a good candidate. The premise is not that Trump is the worst human being to have ever existed. The premise is we should vote for Biden / Biden should win. Now, what a lot of Bernie or busters make the stupid assumption of saying is that when they're arguing against voting for Biden, when they're arguing for apathy, they're arguing from a neutral position. They are not. They are wrong. You are arguing from a position that has already been established by people far smarter than them. That is to say, the potential benefits of voting for Biden, which I will now establish. Okay? Check it. First off, how is Biden better than Trump? A lot of people struggle with this. Can you believe it? Folks, can we laugh at the people who unironically believe these two candidates are comparable? Can we have a hearty guffaw? Can you join me? There's my laugh, okay? I need to be perfectly clear. Listen, just because you've been on Twitter 16 hours a day since Bernie lost the primaries, reading people who wake up at fucking 1 p.m. every single day, talking about how actually there's no real difference between the Democrat and Republican Party, does not actually mean there's no difference between the Democrat and the Republican Party, okay? That's not actually true. That's not actually how it works, okay? As it turns out, even in the most sham, illegitimate democracies in all of human history, there are still at times meaningful difference between these candidates. But you don't have to settle for the margins, folks. The difference between Biden and Trump is astronomical. Astronomical. Let's get into it, people. I'm just going to give you a short list. There's no way I could possibly remember all of the ways in which they're better. Let's go. Let's do the bullet points, okay? Coronavirus. You think 200,000 people would be dead if Hillary Clinton was president? Hillary's a shit candidate because she's a fucking power-hungry asshole, not because Hillary Clinton is incompetent. In fact, she's rather deliberately competent when it comes to matters of political affairs. Climate change. I've heard Bernie or Busters say, by the way, that there's essentially no difference between $2 trillion from Biden and $0 from Trump. Let me ask you something, dipshits. You find me a single climate scientist on the planet who says there's no difference between $2 trillion from Biden and $0 from Trump. You find me one. A single one. You find me one. You won't be able to. Is $2 trillion enough? No, it's not. We should do more, of course. Maybe we'll be able to push Biden over. Maybe we won't. $2 trillion still better than zero. In actuality, Trump is actually negative money because he has appointed climate change denialists to the EPA, cut the EPA's budget massively, destroyed our pandemic response team. Anyone who makes fun of me and my ability to type in chat gets left alone because it's completely valid. I still have no ability to type whatsoever after years and years and years of doing this. What about wildfire management? Something that's been completely dropped on the ball on a federal level. What about the Supreme Court? Isn't there currently a liberal-leaning Supreme Court justice who's like 80 or something? You're going to have to remind me here, folks. I don't prep for these segments. Because I know for a fact if I was actually arguing with a Bernie or Buster, they would have nothing. Breyer, Supreme Court. Breyer, what's up? How you doing? Damn, you're 82 years old. That's fucking crazy. 82 years old. You're gonna die soon. Which president will get to replace you? You guys really want to fight against a 7-2 conservative Supreme Court? I'm pretty sure that would be the most conservative Supreme Court in a century. You really want to fight against that? Is that really what you want to... That's where you want to fight that? You really think it's going to be easy to protest when that Supreme Court is the one deciding whether or not your flag burning, your protests, are constitutionally allowed? I mean, up to you. Trans healthcare. Remember when the Trump administration just randomly fucking took away trans healthcare protections? Remember that? Remember, just randomly, like no reason, just like haha, just owning the libs like right off the bat. How about gay marriage? That's kind of a derivative of the Supreme Court stuff. There are two Supreme Court justices who are currently arguing about the constitutionality of gay marriage. What about healthcare in general? Trump still has no plan to replace Obamacare. Healthcare is going to get significantly worse. How about pre-existing conditions? Any of you got pre-existing conditions in chat? These are all ways, by the way, in which Biden would factually, objectively be better than Trump. You can argue that Biden may not be able to step up and be better than Trump in one or two of these ways, but statistically speaking, presidents tend to fulfill about 60% of their campaign promises. So the math is very much in favor of the idea that Biden would do significantly better here than on Trump. Oh yeah, by the way, having had coronavirus is a pre-existing condition. Did you guys know that? Were you aware of that? If you've had coronavirus, congratulations. For the rest of your life, you now have a pre-existing condition. And if an administration comes into office that decides pre-existing conditions are no longer being covered by healthcare, whoa, sorry there, buddy. You're fucked. You die. Won't that be fun? I'm sure as you're breathing your last in a gutter somewhere in the LA River, you can reflect on how much you owned the libs by not participating in the electoral process back in 2020. We're not even close to being done. Trans people getting kicked out of the military. Now you may think, oh, why should trans people even be in the military? That's dumb. The military is gay. True, the military is very gay, though admittedly less than it used to be now that all the trans people are out of there. Now that trans people are out of the military, this is a huge step backward for trans rights and a way to reinforce the perceived illegitimacy of transgenderism, quote unquote, in the eyes of the general public. If trans people aren't allowed into highly respected civic institutions like the military, it perpetuates their exclusion in other forms. Oh, trans bathroom bills. Remember back in 2017 and 2018 when the Trump administration was making huge waves encouraging like state officials to pass trans exclusionary bathroom bills? Remember? You think they won't double down on that? How about minimum wage? You think Trump's going more likely to up the minimum wage than Biden is? What do you think the likelihood of that is? What about immigration, where Trump has pretty much endorsed a white nationalist immigration policy from day one with varying level of success? What about taxes? What about raising taxes on the wealthy? What about raising taxes on the wealthy? We can get past the policy stuff, by the way. Oh yeah, you know what? Paris Climate Accord, international relations, which increases our ability to form peace treaties, the Iran deal. Thank you, people. Thank you. Trump's, wow, that had a lot of typos in it. Jesus Christ. Yeah. National security compromises. Absolutely. Trump is a national security fucking nightmare. Abortion rights. Oh, hey, remember when the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court if gays should be allowed to adopt? Remember that? Remember you just woke up one morning and it was just like, oh, the Trump administration just was like, yeah, maybe gay people shouldn't be able to adopt. They literally asked the Supreme Court if it was okay. Remember that? You remember? I remember. Weed. Police reform, but Biden wants to give more money to the police. Yeah, why do they want to give more money to the police? When Trump says, I'm going to give more money to the police, he's saying it so they can crack more black skulls. Biden has adopted a series of initiatives that he would incentivize police departments to take that decrease the amount of violence. Fact-driven, scientifically based police behaviors that decrease the likelihood of them hurting other people. That's important, people. I need to be really, really clear about this. That's important, people. Hey, remember when critical race theory was banned from being taught in federal institutions? Remember the literal fucking book burning? American exceptionalist education. Remember that? Exceptionalist. Give me that. Yeah, remember that, buddy? Remember that? Oh yeah, sex education. Let's not forget that. Okay, we can stop. This is half. This is a quarter. This is a tenth of the actual number of things. Okay, we can stop. Hold on. We're not even close to being done with this, okay? The point is, we don't actually have to finish this list, okay? Now, again, you can say, well, Biden's not going to do all that. No, nobody gets to do everything they want to do, but Biden will do some of these things. If Biden does one of the 50 things we just listed, he will be better than Trump. You understand that, right? Even if he does one thing, even if he does nothing, he will be better than Trump. You realize that, right? There's a big when one person is pledging to do bad things and one person is pledging to do good things, saying the person who wants to do good things is being insincere and probably won't do them isn't an argument against him being better, because the other person will just do bad things. We're only talking about what Trump has done with in the first term. If Trump gets away with this election and wins a second term, after everything he's done, he gets away with it, the American people allow him to get a second term, there will be nothing holding him back. What Trump has done so far is nothing. Trump is already at the point where he's signaling to QAnon. He's telling the Proud Boys to stand back, stand by. He's talking about protecting the suburbs. He talks about how suburban women voted for him 52%. He means white women. He means protect white people. He's literally adopting white nationalist rhetoric. It's impossible for me to tell you how close we are to just open white nationalist advocacy. Just flat, we need to protect white people against the tyranny of Black Lives Matter. Because we're doing that right now, except with one layer of dog whistle. We need to protect the suburbs against Black Lives Matter. We're this close. We're this close. A third of the country legitimately believes in a propaganda pipeline that has convinced them that Trump's chances of re-election are 100%, and if he loses, it's because the Jews or Soros or whatever broke the election system to fix the problem. Okay? It is unbelievable how far things have come. Remember back in 2016 when Trump took office and there were a bunch of lefties being really smug? Do you remember this? Actually, the systems of American capital have been destroying people's lives for a long time. This is not, honestly, this is just going to be a slight deviation in the perceived civility of the capitalist institution. It's going to do harm anyway. You were wrong! You were wrong! Fascism can happen! How could a lefty forget this? You were wrong! And you know what? I was wrong! I was wrong. I believed that back when Trump won. I was so smug. I felt so good being smug, too, because I wasn't a liberal. Oh, don't worry, liberals. Trump may have won, but the institution of capitalism has been a meat grinder for hundreds of years. Trump is just an exceptionally obnoxious iterant of the same fundamental No! There's something worse than bourgeois capitalism. It's fascism. There's something to the right of it. I can't believe we forgot. We completely forgot. You have socialism and you have capitalism and then you have fascism. We forgot it was there. It's been there the entire time. My friends, what was the name of the leader of the KDP, the Communist Party in Germany before Nazis took power? What was his name again? No, not Hitler. Thalman. Do you want to know a quote from Thalman? The real cute quote. Big fan of it. Thalman said, "Hitler will have his time, and then we will have ours." Presumably that was written on his gravestone after he was killed by Hitler. It's satire. It's a joke. He was killed by Hitler, by the way. It turns out you don't get a time after Hitler's time. Tellman? Tellman, thank you. So everything that I've just argued right now, all the harm, all the good, all of this is the neutral position Bernie or Busters are arguing against. They have to argue that the benefits of not voting for Biden are so overwhelmingly good that it cancels out the unbelievable harm Trump could do with a second term. Is what I would be saying if I didn't also have other arguments for why it's important. Let's continue. I'm no liberal. I do not base my advocacy entirely upon the belief that one presidential candidate would be better than another. Now, even if that was what I did, I would be right. Even when a Hillary Clinton, I'm still with her liberal says, well, Biden's still going to do better than Trump sweaty to a ML, that Hillary Clinton, I'm still with her liberal is correct. She's beating you in the argument. You're losing that argument. You're getting owned by her, you know? You're getting fucking pile driven into the concrete by her. When she shows you her I'm with her mug and takes a sip of it, and she turns it around and says male tears on it, and then she says, sorry, you're not riding with Biden? Isn't that like voting for Trump? She's fucking owning you! You're getting fucking wrecked! You're getting destroyed! Pack it up! Commit fucking seppuku! It's over! Preserve your honor! With a clean death! Cut out your own heart and present it to your next of kin so they can eat it and learn from your fucking vital essence whatever stupidity led you to the decisions that brought you to being owned by a fucking I'm still with her Hillary supporter. Okay? That is the only possible recompense to that situation. But that's not the only argument we have. Other arguments for voting for Biden. Now, hold on with me, folks, okay? This is going to get a little bit theoretical, okay? It's going to involve some interpretation, okay? It's going to involve some thinking about brain, okay? Are you ready for it? Socialists must preserve bourgeois, that's bourgeoisie, bourgeois democracy. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you would find that Mao and Lenin were both of the opinion that it is necessary for socialists to ally even with the bourgeois against other worse political forms like colonialism and fascism. Mao recognized that working with the landed capital, working with the business elite against the imperialists who had taken hold of China to an extent, their influence, was preferable to working against both of them at the same time. Lenin recognized that fascism, what was it, the Army of 1,000 Knives? Well, what was the term? They had a really sick name. Like a really, really sick name. The Black Hundred? It was like the black... Dude, they had a sick fucking name. The fascists in Russia, sick fucking name. It was like the Black 100 Knives, 1,000 Armies, destroy the sun, onslaught of fascism, Black Sun win. Or something like that. They were fucking crazy, okay? They had a sick fucking name. Honestly, nailed the fucking marketing there. It made me want to become a fascist when I first read about it. Sucks they lost. You know why they lost? Because Lenin realized that he would have to work to preserve bourgeois democracy over them, that it was preferable to support the interests of democratic candidates to work with them against fascism than it was to just allow fascism to take over and fight against that. Just Lenin, little known, not at all successful revolutionary, didn't create the USSR. With years and years and years of fighting, nothing. Listen. Please, God, listen. Air conditioner off. I need to listen to my own fucking thoughts while I sell this sick-ass argument to you people. Listen. Socialists have an advantage in the marketplace of ideas. I know that's a funny term, but it's true. It's that we're correct. Really helps us out. Our arguments appeal to most liberal sentiments. Liberalism, that is to say, the social ideology of the Enlightenment, is ostensibly, not in practice, but ostensibly, about things like equality, representation, freedom, human rights, so on and so forth. That is nominally what liberalism is about. Now, liberalism is also about capitalism. We know how that one worked out, but hey, not every liberal is a crazy fucking hyper-libertarian, supermarket-oriented dipshit. A lot of liberals, a lot of people who just go to work and pick up people from school, they like the idea of better representation in the workplace. They like the idea of unions. They like the idea of better equality. They like the idea of trying to fix some of the problems in our system that seem to keep recurring over and over and over again, no matter how many times people work against it. That's a social character we can get behind. A lot of Democrats like the idea of limiting corporate power. They're just not that politically educated, and they just do the Pikachu shock face every time Democrats vote in more corporatists who then increase corporate power. Bourgeois democracy is a system socialism was designed to criticize. Read Marx, I beg of you. Socialism is capitalism's shadow. We always follow it. In every liberal capitalist society, there are socialists who work tirelessly to make life better for the people who live there. All of those people. Except for the bourgeois. You know. That advantage, our optical advantage, disappears under fascism. Under fascism, we just die. You think fascists give a fuck about equality? You think people living under the jackboot of a tyrannical regime designed to enforce ethnic supremacy would care about our arguments for equality? They would just have us killed. Fascists understand this better than most socialists. Fascists recognize their best shot at power is exploiting liberal civility. You see how Richard Spencer got his way up in 2016, being the nice suit-wearing neo-Nazi? Because he knows if you're real nice and you argue in ways that appeal to the liberal sentiment, you can get media attention in the way that a frothing skinhead never could. Socialists don't seem to realize this. Socialists seem to believe that in today, modern America, modern day America, you people are going to leave a fucking peasant revolt against a fascist government? Are you fucking insane? Really think about what you're suggesting for a while here, okay? This isn't China in the 1930s, okay? This isn't Russia in the early 1900s, all right? This is a highly integrated, globally productive capitalist economy being lorded over by the most effective and advanced surveillance state in the history of human society, okay? You are not going to be able to change the system with a fucking peasant revolt. It won't happen. You're delusional. You're counter-revolutionary. Can you imagine if it was like 1910 and like you're with Lenin and you're like, you know how we're going to defeat the Tsar? I've got a great idea. Okay, first of all, no revolutions. Okay, we're gonna cut that out. Okay, what we're actually going to do is form a drum circle of shamans. Okay, and we're going to place a hex on him, a drum circle thousands of people wide, and we're going to place a hex on him. No matter how sincere your intentions, if your methods don't work, you're not being helpful. Okay, and let me tell you, a fucking shamanistic hex on the Tsar was more likely to have succeeded then than a peasant revolt in America today, okay? Yeah, you are like the leftist equivalent of TikTok witches trying to curse Trump, okay? Fucking chill, all right? If you want to win socialism, if you want to make this country better, you need more socialists. I'm sorry, your Twitter feed, as Natalie said in her video, is not a representative segment of the actual population. The actual population of this country is like 99.9% non-socialist. We should probably work on that before we think about like revolution. And the way to work on that is by preserving an economic and political system which is most amicable to our ideas. Again, Lenin and Mao wrote on this. I literally learned this from them. I'm paraphrasing it from what I read from them, okay? Socialists have to preserve bourgeois democracy. That's the battleground we fight on, okay? Okay? That means we need to vote out fascism when possible. But you can't vote out fascism. Then what happened in Bolivia, dipshit? What just happened in Bolivia? Yes, you can vote out fascism. Do you think Bolivia would have turned out better if all those revolutionaries had been like, actually, I'm not going to participate in the system that led to our oppression? let them have their elections. Real power is built out of the people. And then you all just keep getting like shot in the streets, you know? I thank God, by the way, this tendency, this intellectual tendency in the online left is largely limited to like America and like English speaking countries, you know? Because if you motherfuckers were on the ground in Bolivia, they would still be living under the boot of fascism. Holy shit. You people are more effective than any CIA coup. Jesus Christ. Socialists must preserve bourgeois democracy. I cannot possibly state that hard enough. Additionally, from an optical perspective, it makes us... Jesus. It makes us look a lot better when we're on the side of the people we're trying to convince. Right now, Democrats in America are unified behind getting rid of Trump. Voter turnout is up massively for Democrats. So how do you think it makes us look if Democrats are obsessed with getting rid of Trump? And they do, or they don't. And then at the end of it, they turn to us and we're like, hey, don't you want to defeat capitalism? And they look at us and they're just like, you didn't even vote. You didn't even vote against Trump. What the fuck do you mean? Why breed resentment? There are a lot of lefties who legitimately believe the Democratic Party is going to move left if they don't vote. First of all, you're delusional. Bernie Sanders lost the primary election. Biden won. Why would Biden move to become Bernie Sanders after Bernie Sanders lost? Do you have any idea how this election game works? The saddest thing is I see this from people like Brianna Joy Gray, who was a fucking... who was just under Bernie when it came to electoral strategy. So I don't know how these very simple facts about how to orient, you know, like power in political campaigns, like could have escaped, the press secretary. I have no idea. Like, it's beyond me. But the Democratic Party is absolutely under no obligation to move further left. If the Democratic Party wanted more votes, they would move to the right. But they haven't moved to the right. Bernie Sanders has extracted multiple concessions from the Biden administration, like, for example, debt relief, like, for example, free college up to 2 years, like, for example, $2 trillion to climate change, like, for example, better health care. These are real concessions that were actually extracted, frankly, probably to the detriment of Biden's electoral chances. If Biden wants to capture more votes, he needs to move to the right, not to the left. And Democrats will support any candidate that ousts Trump. So what do you want? Do you want candidates made from a Democratic Party that realizes the left will never vote for them no matter how far left they move? Or do you want candidates who are respective of the optical and the electoral benefits of moving further left? Right now, Biden's gambling on the latter. You're pushing him towards the former. Not good. Not good, people. Not good. Bad, actually, as a matter of fact. Look, this is very simple. Chomsky's right on this, okay? It's very, very, very simple, okay? You vote, and then you go back to real activism. Go back to direct action. Go back to organizing. Go back to doing fucking gay, furry potlucks where everyone brings their favorite photocopy page of Das Kapital and you all share it with each other and then do 69s, okay? Do whatever direct action you want to engage in, okay? But just fucking vote. The only reason lefties are talking about this this Biden-Trump shit so fucking much is because you people are so burnt out from the fucking Bernie loss, two elections in a row, and you're so fucking mad about it, that you've actually made electoralism a fucking central subject of debate. Do you think I want to be covering this? Do you think that I derive any pleasure whatsoever from arguing with an insane fucking minuscule demographic of people who think they're hyper-revolutionary by not voting? There are infinitely more important and relevant uses of all of our time, but it has grasped the common discourse. Because whether I like it or not, and whether you all like it or not, these Bernier busters are people we're going to be working alongside for the rest of our lives. Does that sound fun? Do you want 20 years from now, do you still want to be dealing with these people? Because I certainly don't. They're not going to go away just after this election. They're going to continue being this insufferable and this unproductive for as long as they're around. The only real remedy to them is just honestly making it uncool to be anti-electoral or Bernie or bust or whatever, which, by the way, it very much is. You're no different from enlightened centrists. You're literally no different. You're fucking worthless to the left. Seriously, you're absolutely useless. I'll say it a million times. I would much rather have fucking Hillary Clinton, fucking K-Hive stands than I would worthless anti-electoralism. I never get out of bed unless it's for Bernie Sanders. Whoops, Bernie's out. Okay, never mind. Not getting out of bed ever again. Lefties. Okay? At least one of them does one thing. K-Hivers vote. They don't do much else, but they vote. Voting's good. What do you do? This is the group you were talking about. Their name was the Black Hundreds. Why do I remember their name being so much cooler than that? Ultra-nationalist movement in Russia in the early 20th century. House of Romanov. Autocracy of the reigning monarch. Yeah. Well, whatever. The name, still Black Hundreds is a cool name. It is a cool name. It is cool. They nailed that part. It is a cool name. Yeah, for sure. I have heard so many arguments, so many fucking arguments from Bernie or busters. I've dealt with them a million times. What are they? What are they again? Well, Biden's not going to do all the things he says. Irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Even if he did one thing, he'd be better than Trump. Even if he did nothing, he'd be better than Trump. He's not a fascist. Well, actually, they're both fascists. No, they're not. That's not what fascism means. Read theory. When we vote after losing the primary, we give away our political power. You don't have any political power. You have nothing. The Democratic Party will never concede to you. You're increasing the likelihood of them not conceding to you by not voting. The only thing you can do to exert more influence over the Democratic Party is doing things to make more lefties. You know who made more lefties than any other person in the past century? Bernie Sanders. You know how he did it? Participating in the system, making some concessions, being friendly to people he probably didn't like that much, running with the Democrats even though they're a bunch of corporatist stooges, and radicalizing millions. Sorry, the path towards revolution isn't sexy. Sorry, not every activist movement towards socialism can involve you like wearing a fucking tattered red cape as you walk over the ruins of fucking DC, heading towards the White House to establish the revolutionary government. Sorry, socialists have been trying and failing and trying again for hundreds of years, and all you can get out of bed for is the most fucking aesthetically perfected possible element of revolutionary action. Sorry, you're not getting that, okay? You're not in a fucking revolution. Pretending or believing you're in a revolution or that you're going to cause a revolution is just the lefty LARP equivalent of people who jerk off imagining themselves being useful after a zombie apocalypse. I need you to understand how fucking pathetic you are, okay? If you watch somebody who just watched every season of The Walking Dead and talks about how if there was a zombie apocalypse, they'd totally be able to build a post-human... You're literally those people, okay? You're just engaging in escapism. Please fucking stop. There are real things you can do today to improve the quality of the world. There are real things you can do to make a revolution more likely. All of them involve getting people to like your ideas more. None of them involve not fucking voting, okay? None of them do, okay? Please stop. You're fucking embarrassing, okay? Holy shit. If you had been around back during the turn of the 20th century, they would have made fun of you. All these union organizers who would go back home to their fucking wife and kids, fucking wash off their bruises that they got from police in Pinkerton in the fucking tenement shower that they actually have by a guy pissing down the drain on the floor above, and then they wake up at 5 a.m. the next day to go back out there, to go back to fighting, to go back to constantly organizing, to go back to making concessions, to making friends with people they don't actually like. And you look at that legacy and you're like, well, honey, electoralism kind of sucks anyway. Fuck off, dude. You're honestly so disrespectful to the people who came before you. There was no era of humanity in which you wouldn't have been called a counter-revolutionary, okay? Holy shit. It's actually insane to me this is considered cool. What the fuck is cool about this? Do you people find doomerism cool? Is that cool to you? Like just listening to podcasts all day, smoking weed, talking about how like, oh, whatever, dude, nothing's gonna change it now. Does that make you cool? I would never fuck you people. If I went to a person's house and they acted that way, I wouldn't fuck them. This isn't cool to me. This shouldn't be cool to anyone. I'm sorry you found a way to project your depression onto your fucking political preferences. Jesus Christ. Pessimism is a antithetical to revolutionary sentiment, okay? It is and it always has been, all right? Fucking stop. Jesus Christ, okay? If you're depressed, just take it like an ordinary human being as a personal psychosis and deal with it in ways that make you as healthy and happy as possible. But do not drag my movement down because you are obsessed with projecting your neuroses onto fucking political action, okay? Jesus Christ. Yeah, vote Biden so you can fuck, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Therapy is expensive. Pretending Lenin is my boyfriend is cheap. That is true. Listen, we'll fix capitalism one day, and then therapy will be free, okay? And then you won't have to worry about it, okay? And the therapy folks, they can help you out with the Lenin thing. What is the truth, Vosh? The truth is that Lenin is not your boyfriend. That is true. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Lenin did have a big cock. I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. I know that electoralism isn't cool, and it's not cool. Voting's not cool, okay? When the liberals tell you voting's cool, it's not. Don't let them deceive you, okay? But I didn't get into being a leftist to be cool. I got into it because I thought it was the right thing to do. It's that simple. Okay? Being cool is just a positive side effect of being a leftist. But it's not a permanent, unchanging component of your day-to-day activities. Fucking vote, please. Preserve bourgeois electoralism over fascism. Engage in harm reduction the same way that you would with literally any other kind of political activism. Work to integrate yourselves within the political masses that you will seek to radicalize. Do not isolate or alienate yourself from the literal tens of millions of people who are ripe for radicalization. I am excited for a Biden presidency. Not because I like Biden or because I think the world's going to get that much better under him. Certainly better than under Trump, but not that much better. I am excited because I believe Biden will be a disappointment. And I think that disappointment will radicalize Democrats. I don't think Biden being a disappointment is going to affect the perspective of MAGA hats much at this point. The Republican Party death cult is pretty much cemented. I don't think their voter proportion is going to change that much with time. I feel like they're pretty solidly voting red no matter what happens. And I don't think there are that many disaffected centrists that are going to vote red either. Keep in mind, basically the same number of people voted for Obama. I'm sorry, not Obama. Romney, as did with Trump in 2016, as they will with Trump in 2020. It's basically the same block of voters. Who wins the election is determined by how well the Democrats are able to excite their voter base. That's the key ticket there. And since Democratic excitement is what's on the table here, and Biden is a disappointing candidate, I think his disappointment will provide us a unique opportunity to give people better systems to believe in. Can you imagine all the Democrats, how upset they'll get when Biden makes concessions to the right, when he doesn't do enough for climate change, when he votes for increases to funding the Pentagon, how disappointed some of them are going to be? That's our moment. That's our fucking job. We don't get to radicalize people when Democrats are happy, folks. That's not how it works. That is when we step in. That is when I step in. That is when you step in. All of us in every way we can. But as long as Trump is still in office, Democrats aren't going to want socialism. They're going to want anybody to vote Trump out, even if it's somebody like Bloomberg, even if it's some stupid fucking center right-leaning dipshit. Did disappointing Dems work with Obama? Yes, it did. Before Obama, there was no real left-wing ticket in the Democratic primaries with any meaningful weight behind it. After Obama, Bernie Sanders nearly won the 2016 primary. After 8 years of Obama's disappointment, Bernie Sanders came in. Yes, it worked with Obama. Obama's failures radicalized people, and Bernie radicalized them further. The disappointment only sets people up for radicalization, but then you have to give them the answers. And you know what? Bernie did better in 2016 than he did in 2020. A lot of lefties don't tell you that. They're inhaling copium. Unhealthy degrees of copium, but it's true. You know why? Because in 2016, people didn't take the threat of Trump very seriously. So they were more willing to barter with radical left candidates like Bernie Sanders. But in 2020, electoralism is the only thing Dems cared about. The only thing Dems cared about. Which is the reason why, in 2020, Bernie did worse. When people were asked why they voted for Biden, They said electoralism. When people were asked why they voted for Bernie, they said because they liked his policies. It's clear as day, people. When Dems are scared about encroaching fascism, you're not going to succeed in getting them to vote for some far left candidate. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen, people. You have to set up the conditions. Some might call them the material conditions. And I believe we can do that. The left is energized. We have left-leaning people, real progressives, in Congress, in Senate. Bernie Sanders will be leaving the Senate Health Committee. Leading. AOC and others have meaningfully challenged Pelosi. Voters are angry with Pelosi. There is a real chance here of a combined, a synergized mass left and elected left movement, pushing the Dems further to the left, and when they don't move further to the left, radicalizing the Democratic voters. That is our ticket forward. It's clear as day, people. The evidence supports me. I've argued with Bernie or Buster after Bernie or Buster after Bernie or Buster. I've done it so many times. They have nothing. Your arguments are defunct. They're wrong. You're stupid. But there is a better way. You just have to agree with me on this, okay? I have never had an argument around which I was more sure than the one concerning the necessity of Biden winning over Trump for his second term. It is that simple. I am more confident in this than I am in any sociological argument I have ever made with any Nazi. The math is simple. The historical precedent is simple. The theory backs up the necessity of preserving bourgeois democracy. The respective candidate intentions of Trump and Biden both make it simple. It's easy. The equation's easy. It's not cool to be Bernie or bust. You're not cool. You're not doing anything good. You're not fixing it. So vote Biden. And go watch Contrapoints video, the voting video. It's a good video. Go, do it right now. Except for you live viewers, you have to stick with me. If Trump wins, then what? Then we bunker down, because we're not going to get much done for the next 4 years, except if we're lucky surviving.